What is the place of coaching in mentoring? When would you use it? These are some of the things we'll look at in this session. The objectives of this session are that at the end of it you'll be able to evaluate the role of coaching in mentoring, define coaching and its behaviours, and assess the skills in coaching and their applicability to mentoring. So what is the role of coaching in mentoring? Well, firstly, coaching is a way of supporting and helping a person improve their performance in any field. So whatever field that they're working in, there will be times when they would like to improve what they're doing. It's one of the ways of supporting someone that is included in mentoring. And we'll talk about the other methods later in the sessions. Coaching works by helping someone learn from their own experiences. And it's based on empowering the client. And this is largely done because of its dependency on asking powerful questions to help the client find their own solutions and their own ways forward. Coaching is a very important skill in mentoring, and if you would like to become even more skillful in this role, then you can study about coaching in the workplace by clicking on this link here. The rest of this session will provide an overview of coaching, the skills involved, and its part in mentoring. There are many models found in coaching, and all have similar processes. The processes are useful because they give you a structure on which to apply the questions. And the 5 C's model that we've already considered is one such model. So what questions can you use in this model to be able to coach someone? At this point you may like to refresh yourself on the art of questions in the model Mentoring and Basic Mentoring Skills. This is an important exercise in practicing the great art of empowering questions. Having refreshed yourselves on the art of questions, write down empowering questions that you may ask for each stages of the 5 C's model. And here are some example answers. First of all, for the challenge stage, you might want to ask, what is the problem? What do you want to work through? Where do you ideally want to be with this? What parts of this are working really well? What is stopping you from being where you want to be? How have you tried to solve the problem up to now? And what were the consequences of that? So these questions will help you and the client to explore and analyze the problem. Then there are questions around choices. What would happen if you did nothing? What choices are open to you? Think of one more choice. The reason for asking for more choices is that on the whole with this method, the more choices you get, the more the creative the solution is going to be at the end of it all. So if a client should give you 3 choices, then ask for one more. It also helps the client realize that there isn't only just one way of approaching things. And it's good for them to think through what other ways they might be able to do it. Then comes questions about consequences. So you could ask them about what are the pluses and minuses for each of the options. What are the advantages? What are the disadvantages? And then get them to mark out of 10 for the attractiveness of each option. So it's useful here to list them down and just get them to give it a score out of 10 as to how attractive that option is for them. Then there is creative solutions. So this is where you're wanting your client to come up with some suggestions for the way forward. You might ask them to have another look at their objectives. And you can ask them, can you combine bits of your options to create a better solution? And very often that's where you will find the best way forward, is actually taking perhaps one bit of one option and another bit of another one, or combining them or adding them together. You can ask them, do you need someone else's input? And then get them to make a decision on what is your chosen option. And finally is the very important stage of commitment. And at the end of this section, you want the client to be totally committed to the action that they're taking. So it's useful to ask them, how committed are you to that option, and mark it out of 10. And if it is anything less than 10, then ask them what would make that a 10 out of 10. And ask questions to get them to think about how are they going to make sure that they are totally committed, and what are they going to do. Then you can ask them, what is your action plan? What are your strengths in this action plan? And where might you need help? And when are you going to start? So the purpose of this section is to get the person completely inspired and motivated to going forward with whatever option they have chosen. And the important thing to notice from these questions is it is all about you asking and them answering and finding their own way and their own solution. That is what coaching is about. Here is an exercise to help you practice coaching. Find someone who would like some help with a problem and ask the empowering questions based on the 5 C's model. As the coach, only ask questions. When you've finished, write down what you learned from the experience. Which questions were the ones that had the most impact with your client?